Right. I think you like this one. This is called like the high agency razor. If you're in the way it goes is like, if you're unsure who to work with, pick the person that has the best chances of breaking you out of a third world prison. Basically, like, I mean, what it means is like,
Yeah, explain.
yeah,
It's like, okay.
like if you had, like, who would take the actions, or like, not just like actions to try and break you out. You know, whether it's like they'll have like lawyers or something set up, or they'll try like without questioning or without waiting for like a certain perfect time or something, they just do things. So it's like if you were in prison, like who would be the people that will try and reach out to help get you out of it? Whether it's like through lawyers, through connections they know through some prisoners or something, whether it's like they know a, a, a cop or police or someone who's in that, whether they know people,
Corruption.
whether they know people or something, like they wouldn't question it. They would just try and execute and just do it. Like that's what high agency refers to. It's basically like individuals' ability to make decisions and take actions that significantly impact their own life and circumstances, but without being told to do it. They just do it. They take the initiative to take, and they act autonomously and independently. That's what it means. Because like if you're in a third world prison, you can't really even talk to anyone. But who are the people that will actually try just do it? Like just go out and reach out to you and do their best to be able to break you out of it. And that's the quickest way to be able to like really, you know, if you have hundreds of friends, it's just like you realize like only 2 or 3 people will do that for you or will attempt to do it.
And those are the most, like, it's talking about like resourcefulness and also the adaptability of that person being able to make quick decisions, effective decisions. Yeah, okay.
It's like Money Heist. Have you seen that show?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Netflix, right?
Yeah, like those are high agency people, right? They act all autonomously. Obviously, there's like some corruption that happens in between of those characters,
Yep.
but each of those people were high agency. They did their role.
But was it at the guidance of the professor though?
Yeah, but they had to adapt. There are many things that didn't go to plan.
Yeah.
And I think like a good example in real life I can give is like Mark Zuckerberg, for instance, right? Other than like, you know, breaking out of a prison. But he created $1 trillion company over just his garage, his coding. If you told him like, oh, which worth trillions of dollars when he started, you would be like ridiculous. But he didn't care about that. He just created it. He just started it. He didn't wait for like, let me get the most powerful PC with like all these like i7 like chips or something, or like M3 whatever chip, and like this powerful graphical interface, and then like have like LEDs and stuff flashing everywhere. It's like a disco party or something going on, with like, you know, perfect insulation, perfect studio setup. Didn't care about any of that. He just started from his garage, just did it, just executed it, and became like $1 trillion company.
So it's just more of like, yeah, just taking the action to do it. Yeah.
There's a few other things to it as well, like, you know, being, as you said, resourceful,
Yep.
proactive, and also like being able to obviously analyze and problem solve like complex situations, but being very adaptive, especially in that environment. But it's just taking the initiative to do things. Like I'm sure you've met few people that are like that, rather than being told to do things. And you can't become high agency by reading high agency. You know, you can't become like a high agency person. Like if you tell someone become a high agency person, they can't become high agency like that, because they're still being told to become high agency.
Yeah.
It's just like it has to be out of their own initiative and independence and autonomously. They take the action without being told.
Yeah, interesting. That's an interesting one. I never thought of it that way.
All the successful entrepreneurs you see, Elon Musk, all of Joe Rogan, all of those guys, they're high agency people. Joe Rogan started the podcast without being told by anyone.
Yeah.
Elon Musk created, like, you know, he's trying to move us into Mars without being told by anyone that you should do it. He just decided to do it. And he's making it a reality.
Yeah.
He had 7 failures with his rockets. I think this 8th one was a successful one. That's high agency people are those types of people that just make things happen.
And they have a strong vision of what they also want, right? Like they have a strong purpose of what they want to create out of that, or really do. Because without that purpose, you won't have high agency. Like third world prison example, for example, like that's a purpose. You want to break someone out of a prison, because for whatever reason, hope it's not illegal to break someone out of prison. But,
It's an exaggeration, but basically someone who has the courage and would proactively go out and be resourceful and just using the skills.
there's a
do
big
it.
part of this where pressure is a big one. Like,
Making decisions under pressure.
it's a big one, because it can go south in so many different circumstances if you're not careful. Like, being able to make the right decision under pressure is such a unique characteristic, because you're just betting it all. Like, not betting it, you're sort of really trying to think what's the best outcome, and being able to explain that decision to people is just as scary, because you're really trying to convince people that at that time that was the best decision I could make under pressure. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. That is true. Yeah, it's like you have to be very instinctive in those regards, making decisions very quickly under pressure. I was gonna also say, like, the prison part reminds me of Prison Break.
Look, I've seen a bit of that show.
Have you seen it?
I think I've seen a bit of that show. But not. I think I've watched like the first 2 seasons and I kind of dropped off. I don't know why.
That I understand. Like, I think the second and third season weren't really the best. So the first season and the fourth season are the best.
Right.
But if I was to like give that example of Michael Scofield, right? Do you remember that guy? He's like the protagonist.
I remember his face. I don't remember his name.
Yeah. So basically the protagonist, bald guy, at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has tattooed. He's the prison on his body. He basically the structural side of it. He's basically like the protagonist, and I guess like he applies high agency, or he's high agency, is because he selects like individual people to join his team to break out of the prison, and he evaluates like each of their specific skills and knowledge, and and he really tests like how reliable are they in under pressure, like what you're saying, in high stress environments. And he recruits like his brother Lincoln, who gets like information gathering, and he also has other people that do different things, like someone who is very skilled at digging tunnels, someone else is very skilled at hacking, and so on and so forth. So he's being able to delegate things. He understands how to, like, circle of competence, how to delegate tasks. But yeah, he prioritizes on like competency and resourcefulness when you decide who to work with and who to trust which certain tasks with. And so I guess like that's an example of like in a show like Prison Break, high agency, and examples of people who are high agency in the show when you watch the characters. But yeah, like the emphasis of this is just like, I think what you said is just being able to be reliable in under pressure in very high stress environments, and being able to strategically think and make decisions, and also just being practical about it and just taking action as soon as possible. Yeah.
Interesting razor, for sure. Very interesting. Do you have another thought experiment for me?
Yeah. Let's go
Nice,
with
let's
this.
do it.
So this thought experiment goes, you need to decide between 2 candidates again for a critical project with many unknowns and potential obstacles. So let's just say let's go with Sam and James again. Sam, who's highly educated, experienced, and well-connected. And his personality is like he's methodical and very risk averse. So he doesn't really like risk. Tries to play it safe. But his track record is that he's very successful, very stable, structured environments, but less experienced with chaos and unpredictable. So if it was Black Swan, it would be a bit of a struggle for him. Now you have James. James is like less formal education, but has a history of overcoming significant personal and professional challenges. So he's more adaptable. And his personality is more resourcefulness, proactive, and just determined. So he's more, I would say, like agile type of person, not as like super planned. So spontaneous. And the track record is he's demonstrated his ability to thrive in unpredictable, high pressure environments. So who would you, I guess in this case, go more for?
So I'd go most likely with a second candidate. But in saying that, you'd have to go back to questioning, asking the right questions. So with Sam, challenge him a bit more on his personal challenges and how he navigates through problems. Ask him why he hasn't been in situations where it's where there's been no predictability. Like, I wouldn't explicitly say why has you been so structured. I would explicitly say, sort of be ask, what have you done to put yourself out of your comfort zone, and what have you learned from that sort of mindset? I would like to understand more from him as to what is it about the structure that you like and dislike, because that will tell me whether he is structured and methodical, but does he actually enjoy structure, or does he want to put himself out of that environment a bit? So Sam, I would, on paper, like, you probably go with someone that has experienced someone like James, but then James, the thing with the project is that it depends on the project, first thing. Secondly, the project will try to follow a structure. As much as these unpredictability and unforeseen events that happen, things that pop up, it generally will follow a structure, because a project has a start and an end date. There's a delivery timeline that is structured and needs to be followed. Does it fall outside the realm? 100%. Happens all the time. So James, I'd question more on around, education aside, that it's not a problem for me. It's more so you thrive well in unstructured environments, you're professional, you overcome challenges really well. How do you navigate? How do you perform when there is good structure though? Do you like chaos? Are you someone that, are you someone that only thrives in unpredictable events, or are you someone that also follows structure as well? So those are the sort of things I would ask. Personally, I would, and I'm sure I've missed a lot of things there, but to get the right answer, and I think, but just based on that, I'd probably go James, just because the project is unfamiliar territory, it's unpredictable. You'd probably go with someone that has the more resiliency. Because from experience, when these things go south, they go south, and you've got to just knuckle down a bit. And if you have a negative Nancy that's just ready to say it's all gone to shoot and we need to close down the project, blah, 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 it's like, no. Find a way out. You got to do it.
That's like what I would say as well. I would say, like, the way I would think about it obviously depends on the position. And it's good points I did bring up, because I would probably go with James for like a leadership position, as weird as that may sound, because I feel like a leader needs to be like very adaptive as well in that type of project scenario.
I do think a leader needs to be a bit structured though, more structured.
Yeah.
They have to follow a bit more structure.
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on the nature of the project, but yeah, you're right. I think like the way I see
Sam would
it,
be more of a leader.
yeah,
I would say, in my opinion,
I
James would be more of a. I'm not going to say employee; it's not the right word.
I think the way I see it, to be honest, then is like James would be more suitable for like, in terms of character. I mean, well, in this scenario, yeah, I guess like he would be suitable for like the role in the sense of like, it's unknowns and potential obstacles. But I feel like he would be quite good for an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because an entrepreneur has to overcome 10,000 different problems, which are not even planned. You have to learn 10,000 different things, like hundreds of things. And that's why in a very structured company, it probably wouldn't work with his work ethic and the way he's approaching things. And more of like Sam would be more suitable. Because, especially if it's like a big company, it'd be they have certain rules and regulations and guidelines that you'd have to follow, and like protocols. But James would be more suitable in a startup environment, because with startups, I've worked in a few, and man, a lot of things go unpredictable. So many unpredictable things. There's no structure as well. So it's like, in that regard, you'd value more of someone's ability to be able to adapt, and especially with like randomness and things like that. And I think that is what I would value more in terms of James. But in a very big company, which is structured and has protocols, I would value Sam, And I think that's probably the best way to approach it when you brought that up.
Again,
Well, that's how I think about it. But
yeah, no, it's a
no
different
right or wrong.
perspective.
It's no right or
100%.
wrong.
And I also think there's a way to weed people out with the right questions and understanding mindset. So
Yeah, 100%.
these are
You
just
have to be
hypotheticals, complete hypotheticals. Now.
yeah, complete hypotheticals. That's why you have to apply the skeptic
Yeah.
to be able to question and see like whether or not this is true. But I think that's a good framework of being able to identify who might be more suitable for certain types of roles. I feel like even James might have more potential to become independent because his ability to adapt and grow rather than just stay fixed to a plan. And I guess when you compare the two, James is in a way more high agency because he doesn't really just he will take action regardless of whether or not things are perfect or imperfect
Yeah.
and adapt to the situation.
Yep.
Whereas the other person has to be told of what everything to do, like being in a position of being told what to do, but it has to be like risk averse, safe. So you have to create that environment,
Yeah, which doesn't work.
which does not work in like entrepreneurship or
No.
like in a lot of those types of scenarios.
I think we'll wrap up here. Any final words, sir?
I think we went over pretty well. I think like with high agency, the biggest thing is just like being someone who's ability to be able to make decisions under pressure and in unpredictable challenges, and just takes the initiative to take action without being told to do so.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for that. More raises up ahead. There's 18. You said from George Mac, right?
Yeah.
Jeez, it's a lot, but definitely valuable. So lots more to discuss. But thanks for your time, man.